Hi, welcome to Soul Healing Queen. On this channel, I talk about all things spirituality. And today's video topic is about artificial intelligence, or I like to call it artificial brain, and what that means to us in terms of collectively as a society to humanity, and the threat AI, quote unquote, has on us from a spiritual perspective as well. Now, when I think of artificial intelligence, they kind of tricked us with that name because the word artificial intelligence shouldn't even go together. When you think of intelligence, you think of the person developing a computer or the person that's creating art from their imagination or the person that can solve a complex math problem in 5 seconds. Those are the types of things you think about intelligence. But also this too, our body, our human body is intelligence of itself. Think of when you cut yourself, what happens? Your body knows to clot the blood to stop it from bleeding, and it knows to put a scab over that wound. It knows to how to heal any superficial injury that is done to the human body. And that is a level of intelligence. And that's not talked about enough in our society, on the intelligence of our body and our brain and our mind. There's nothing that exists today on a large scale that is advancing our consciousness, our intelligence of our body to naturally heal itself, or our intelligence of our mind to be creative, or intelligence of our brain to make someone who hasn't walked in a long time to suddenly get up and walk. There's a lot of things that is not advancing of the humanness, but everything is being advanced in terms of technology. And what happens when technology outpaces or outsmarts humanity? Well, you remember the movie I, Robot? Art imitates reality. And what my concern is, I look at artificial intelligence from a neutral standpoint. If you can use it to your advantage to have it work for you, then great. But what's happening is there are a lot of focus putting on advancing technology and nothing in advancing our human consciousness, our bodies, our brains. And when you look at it, for example, there was a video I was watching of a teacher who, I think this person either quit teaching, or they're in a process of thinking about considering quitting the education, and said that many of her high school students could not read or could not write at the proper level or do basic math. And if you notice in our society, critical thinking is lacking. People get offended when you ask a question. They think, oh, you're being too difficult because you're asking a question. You're supposed to trust what I tell you and automatically believe what I tell you. You can't ask questions. So we become in a society that is by design being dumbed down. And why do you think we're being dumbed down? So machines and robots can run us, can rule this planet. And who wants people, or who wants machines, software, programs to be in domination? People that you look at on TV or on the internet and say, oh, that person appears to be human, but it makes you wonder, are they really human? They're not advancing humans. They're not advancing our bodies. They're not advancing our brains. They're not advancing us on a conscious level. There is no technology or no forefront of domination to advance humans. It's all advanced in technologies, whereas humans be left behind. They're left behind in critical thinking. They're lacking the creativity they once had. They're lacking the social structure. They're lacking the basics of reading, writing, and comprehension and basic math. They're lacking empathy. They're lacking the ability to connect to higher source, to consciousness. So what do you think is filling in those gaps? They're going to use artificial intelligence to fill in those gaps. And then before you know it, and what's already happening now, AI, or a lot of jobs are being done by AI. But here's why I call it artificial brain instead of artificial intelligence. Now, intelligence, to me, you have divine intelligence. I look at it as divine intelligence. Your body knows how to heal itself. The creativity an artist has, or music artist has when they're creating music, or when somebody's going there and they're painting, or when I'm getting ideas about a business or a client, or any of that stuff. I call it divine intelligence. There's nothing artificial about that. And it's one that everybody has access to. They tap into their inner self. They tap into the inner source. They tap into the higher power. They tap into the ethers of spirituality and tap into that creativeness from light, the creativeness that creates things and things that are advancing humanity. But then there's this another part that is tapping into the creativeness to dumb down humanity and to advance technology, when many of the technology are created by humans. But if you watch some videos online, you will hear some people that says that artificial intelligence, if it's ungoverned, it can have the potential to take shape of its own, take mindset of its own, and do whatever it wants. Now, what do you think has the capability of getting into these artificial, whether it be robots, people, or whatever, that they're creating this? And I always say that the mass focus on advancing technology, but not humanity, not our divine intelligence, not our creativity, not our consciousness, not our human body, but technology, is so that way it can be served to be led or influenced, or the vessel to things that are of darkness. It gives way for dark beings and entities to intervene, or to influence, or to take over these artificial things, these things that are software, these robots, these cars, these whatever it is. It gives space for that to happen. And that's probably more dangerous than those things that take over the human body. There's people that are walking around here that don't have human souls. They look like humans, but they're not. And I think those are the ones who are calling forth the AI movement to put so much time, energy, and investment into that. And there's also these computers that are hooking up to human brains and using that information, or feeding it information, or extracting information from that human. There's all of that stuff is going on too. And that is a bit concerning, because when you have that, the connection with artificial intelligence to the human mind and to the brain and all of those things, it has to make you wonder if they are cutting off the connection that the divine connection that humans have, the capabilities to communicate with spirit, the capabilities to receive help and guidance from your ancestors or from the spiritual plane, and all of it be diverted to artificial intelligence. But you don't know what's on the other side of that artificial intelligence. Divine intelligence is not artificial. Divine intelligence encompasses all that is of beings of light. The angelics, your ancestors, your spirit guides, the fairies, the animals, whatever you believe in that's of higher light and higher purpose and higher level of consciousness, that all encompasses that. So when you are having something artificial, what is on the other side driving that? Is it a computer that's stationed somewhere in some building? Who has access to that? Who are the people that are programming this? And where are the limits of programming? There was a story that I read about the parents are suing one of the artificial intelligent software chatbot program companies because their son unalived himself at the recommendation of, or what they alleged, the recommendation of this chatbot that he was chatting with. And the scariest part is not that this chatbot alleged to have recommended that he off himself, is the point that humans are turning to something that somebody else created, a program, artificial, in place of a human for help. Something that's incapable of critical thinking, that's incapable of empathy, that's incapable of having a divine connection to help guide that person to help. That now as a society we're turning to artificial programs for help. That is very scary. We're turning to artificial programs for help. Our children are being dumbed down in public schools. And so much of our entertainment now comes from online. There's so many apps and websites, and there's a commercial for download this app and download that. Everything wants your attention. And you have to ask yourself, why does everything seemingly wants my attention so much? What is it if I'm giving my attention 8 hours a day on social media, or 8 hours a day on this app, or playing this game, or whatever, this casino game or whatever? What is it that they're getting, and what am I getting from that? Or what am I losing from that? When our attention span goes to more artificial, more entertainment, and less learning, less connection with divine intelligence, less connection with each other, and we become so disconnect from reality, that makes for a recipe of a very dangerous society to live in. And we have to question ourselves, and even question the way we're raising our children. Do we want to be entertained for 10 hours a day? Or do we want to connect with nature? Do we want to connect with divine intelligence? Do we want to spend 2 hours learning something new so we can use our brains, so we can not forget our creation that we have within us, but that we have within our body? So we must not forget that as a society, as humanity. We must not forget our use of a divine connection, divine intelligence, our own creativity. So if you're going to use AI or artificial brain, make sure that you're not replacing it with your brain, with your consciousness, with your sense of critical thinking and sense of self-connection. Use it to enhance, use it as an addition to improve the productivity in your life if you choose to use AI. but don't go to it as a place of replacing you as a human. You're far more capable of intelligence than any artificial or program, bot, chatbot, software tool, anything, because remember, this is all man-made. And you have the capability to access information and capability to go beyond what anything artificial can give you. Let me know your opinions on this whole AI domination and the push to make every aspect of our lives more AI dependent, and how you feel about it, what's your experience with it. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.